Hello, I'm Tom Wilkinson, and welcome to the Thinking in English podcast, a podcast for intermediate to advanced level learners of English. Are you a couch potato, indolent, or lackadaisical? On today's episode of Thinking in English, let's learn some excellent vocabulary to describe laziness in English. Check out the Thinking in English blog for the full transcript of today's episode, and head over to my Instagram page, Thinking in English Podcast, for more excellent content. Over the last few days, I've struggled with motivation. My sleeping pattern was ruined after I fell ill for a few days in January, and I've just felt incredibly lazy. Have you ever felt this way before? What do you do when you feel lazy, unmotivated, or distracted? I was trying to write this episode last night, but instead I spent hours watching YouTube videos, browsing the internet, and even making my own Google Maps. Anything apart from working. And as I tend to work late at night, I'm always lazy in the morning. But I need to stop being so lazy. The English language has quite a few excellent words, phrases, and idioms that can mean lazy or lazy person. Laziness is something that happens to all of us. So, learning a few good alternative ways of describing your situation is a great way to improve your vocabulary. I actually recorded some similar episodes on emotions, including embarrassment, sadness, and happiness, a few months ago. So I'd recommend you check all of those out too. We'll start with a few synonyms for lazy and then look at some of the best idioms and related phrases. Let's start with some useful words to take the place of lazy in your vocabulary. Indolent. Since the 18th century, indolent has taken on the meaning of lazy. If something is indolent, it shows no effort or real interest. Indolent people want to avoid exertion or activity. We can describe people as indolent, such as an indolent child who never goes outside, or we can describe actions as indolent. For example, he greeted me with an indolent wave of the hand. Idle. The word idle has been used in English to mean lazy for over 700 years. Idle is originally a Germanic word with a meaning of empty or worthless. Now, idle has a few meanings related to being lazy. For instance, idle can mean being lazy and not willing to work. Idle may be used as an adjective to describe a person or thing that moves without purpose and spends time doing nothing. Laggard. Laggard is a great old word to describe a lazy person, which has actually been growing in popularity again over the past few years. As a noun, a laggard is someone or something that is very slow. A laggard would make slow progress and fall behind the speed of others. For example, our company has no time for laggards. Laggard can also be an adjective, meaning slower than desired or expected. For example, the teachers had to ring the bell twice to summon the laggard children to school. Lethargic. Lethargic. Lethargic is a close synonym to lazy. If you are lethargic, you have very little energy and you feel unable or unwilling to do anything. It is often used in a phrase alongside tired, such as I was feeling tired and lethargic. I think lethargic best describes how I've been feeling recently. Lackadaisical. This is one of my favorite adjectives to describe lazy. Lackadaisical means showing little enthusiasm and effort. Lackadaisical is often used to refer to poor quality or low effort actions, such as that restaurant has delicious food, but the service is lackadaisical, or the soccer team conceded a goal due to a lackadaisical defense. It is almost a combination of lazy and careless. Layabout. Layabout is the kind of word my dad used to use to describe my younger brother. It is one of the most popular nouns that refers to a lazy person today, especially a person who is unwilling to work. In particular, a layabout is a person who does not work as a habit. I used to have a roommate who was a layabout who never went out, never cleaned the house, and never did any work. Or someone may ask you, why are you hanging around with that layabout? Sluggish. Sluggish is a really nice lazy synonym. Someone who is sluggish moves, acts, or works with less than usual speed or energy. I had a sluggish morning today. I just watched TV and drank coffee. Think about the animal called slug. Those little slimy and slow moving insects were actually named after the word sluggish. As well as describing slow moving objects like a sluggish car or a sluggish stream, sluggish is also used to mean lacking energy or alertness. And like lethargic, sluggish is commonly used in combination with the word tired. Slothful. While the previous word was connected to the animal slug, slothful has similarly inspired the name of the slow moving South American animal, the sloth. The terms slothful and sloth have been used to describe laziness for centuries. In fact, sloth is one of the Catholic religion's 7 deadly sins. Basically, slothful means lazy. For example, my class is full of slothful children, or fatigue has made me slothful. Workshy. I think you can probably guess the meaning of workshy from the word itself. It is a great synonym for lazy and describes someone who should be at work but is not. Workshy people dislike work and try to avoid it as much as possible. For instance, some politicians are worried Americans have become workshy due to generous government benefits. Now, let's look at some of my favorite lazy idioms and phrases. Bone idle. In the first part of the podcast, I introduced idle as a direct synonym of lazy. How about if you wanted a phrase to mean very lazy? You could say very idle, but a much more interesting alternative is bone idle. Simply put, bone idle means extremely lazy. I'm sure when my brother and I were teenagers, my mum must have been concerned about her bone idle sons. Bum around. Bum about. Bum about and bum around are phrasal verbs that mean to be lazy or idle. Sometimes I just bum around doing nothing all day. Have you just walked slowly around your house, not doing anything important, even though you should probably be doing something else? If you have, you've bummed about. Couch potato. A couch potato is a person who watches a lot of television and lives a very inactive lifestyle. Rather than going out or doing activities, couch potatoes do nothing other than watch TV. The life of a couch potato is a very lazy life. This term was first introduced in a 1970s comic to describe a group of lazy characters. These characters were called couch potatoes by the artist. Since then, the phrase has become a very popular way to describe lazy people who watch too much TV. Duvet day. I was unsure whether to include duvet day in this list. Duvet day has come to mean an unscheduled extra day taken off work and is used to free yourself from stress or pressure. So if you're taking a day off work because you're stressed, I would not count this as laziness. In fact, some companies officially allow workers to take a few duvet days every year. However, duvet day can also refer to a lazy day spent entirely under a duvet, perhaps at the weekend. A duvet is a large, soft, feather filled bag and is used as a covering on a bed. So, duvet day can actually be used to describe a lazy day spent under the duvet watching TV. Lazy bones. Lazy bones is a noun that describes someone who is lazy. Unlike some of the other terms that describe laziness on today's episode, lazy bones is often used as a form of address, so we can use it instead of someone's name. For example, hey, lazy bones, get out of bed. Or, come for a walk with me, lazy bones. Lie down on the job. If you lie down on the job, you fail to work as hard or as well as you should. Lying down on the job means to neglect your responsibilities and fail to do your job. Basically, lying down on the job is a great phrase to suggest laziness at work. Pollution has been getting worse because government officials have been lying down on the job. If my colleagues often lie down on the job, I will get very frustrated. Slack off. Slack off is a phrasal verb which means to be lazy, to procrastinate, and to avoid your work duties. If you keep slacking off, you stop working hard and putting effort into things. Workers who slack off work less hard than usual or necessary. Often, this is used in the context of work on school. For example, companies want to make sure their employees aren't slacking off. Or if you keep slacking off in class, you will definitely fail. So here is today's final thought. After listening to this episode, hopefully you now have some excellent ways to describe the next lazy situation you encounter. All of us have probably bummed around at some point, been described as lazy bones by our families, or thought about slacking off occasionally. Now you can talk about this in English. Do you know any other ways of saying lazy in English? Let me know in the comments.